Hey everybody, welcome. We're live at Crawdaddys again, and I'm going to do another special interview with one of the real successful athletes in Visalia. Not only that, he's one of my dear friends that I've had in my life for a long time. Say hi, Mike Lacoss.
Hi, Keith.
What's up, buddy?
I'm over here, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike spent 14 years, right, in the big leagues.
I had an 18-year career, 14 seasons in the big leagues.
That's
They call it parts of 18 seasons.
That's pretty darn successful, folks. Anyway, Mike's career ended. You ended with the San Francisco Giants, but let's go way back to when you went to high school with me. Okay, Mike went to my high school, Mount Whitney High School. And hey, first of all, how did you end up in Visalia really quick?
I came with my mom.
Oh, that's a little too specific, okay? Your mom and dad brought you here?
My mom, married someone from this town, actually.
And you were in high school?
I was, just starting, yeah. My sophomore year.
Your sophomore year. Here's
Summer of 1971.
1971. And on this was junior varsity ball, right?
Yes.
You went to Whitney and played junior varsity baseball, and one of his teammates was Kevin Costner. Isn't that cool? And did you know him at the time? I mean, did you have a relationship with him?
I did. See, he lived on the other side of Royal Oaks Park, and I lived on Woodland, and there was a lot of us, everybody lived in that neighborhood. So we.
You lived by our coach Don Martin at that time, right?
Yeah.
Don Martin was a great coach at Mount Whitney High School. I love that guy. He's still around. Mike and I visited.
And another friend of mine, anyways, was a guy named John Wright, and he lived next door to Kevin. Now I didn't know this guy at all, of course. I was just hooking it to school.
In my brother's yearbook, and I go, "Oh my God! There's no way that guy is the most eligible bachelor in the world. He looked like a goober in high school."
Plastic surgery those guys use.
Whatever, man. It worked. He's doing pretty good. Okay.
So here's how I met it. I did meet him though. I was just walking to school, and I was going to old Art Browning 7-Eleven to get some junk food.
Art Browning, that's another one.
Another baseball guy, Art Browning.
On the 1957 state championship team from COS.
This might have been the first day or two of school. So
really?
Yeah, and I came out of the 7-Eleven, and there he was, and he had a little red Datsun pickup truck. And he just pulled over, rolled the window down, and said, "You want to ride to school?" And I went, "Sure."
Why was he? His parents were in the service or something.
Yeah, they were at Lemoore.
And he only stayed here 1 year.
1 year.
Right?
Yeah.
Because by the time I got there, he was gone. I never knew who he was.
So Coach Martin cut him from the basketball team.
Oh, my God. Kevin Costner was cut from the JV basketball team.
And then he was the third-string second baseman on our JV as a junior. So.
Wow. But after he left Whitney, you said he ended up being a pretty good player.
He must have grown or had a hormone infusion or something, because he got bigger. And the high school coach that he had down there got him to pitch a little bit, and he pitched and starting pitcher in high school.
Well, that guy, he must have learned a lot from you guys, because.
No, but you can grow. I mean, the same thing happened to me.
I'm just talking about his baseball movies. I mean, the guy's really, when he made those baseball
movies,
he had great skills.
He hired that same coach for a consultant in the movies.
Really?
Yeah, the old man.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, he did great in those movies. But okay, so
all right.
Enough of Kevin Costner, which we're all big fans of him. And
I'm not.
Well, hey, Don Alfano, our friend, went and visited him the other day. So anyway, so you go on and you played your senior year in 1974. You played for the great Art Shazday. He was our friend. He was. I love Shaz, didn't you? He's the only guy who would never swear around, and I swear around everybody. I never would swear around Shaz because he was such a good guy. But then you guys had the most amazing senior baseball team. And you guys looked like men amongst boys. And then you could have been the Valley champs, but you guys go and just torch one against who? Kerman?
Selma.
You lost 1-0 against
4-0.
Got shut out. How do you guys lose 4-0 to those dudes and then not even be this?
That's why baseball is the greatest game on the
Never
planet,
know.
because
It's a great
you can
equalizer.
get beat any day by anybody. And I've never say too much about this, but there's no question about it. Nobody really talks about it that much. The home plate umpire, that umpiring crew was from some organization in Fresno. And
see, folks, he played 14 years in the major leagues, and his high school game is still haunting
and they squeezed, and just to show you how bad it was, David Holt wouldn't yell at a fly. Perfect gentleman, polite, and he turned around eventually and got kicked out of that game by that home plate umpire.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the guy
was a total gentleman. Not
the guy
like
was
this dude.
No, and the guy caused a big problem, and of course, we got shut out too. The little guy shut us out, but I mean,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
you guys on that team had so many great players. You had 3 guys that played in the professional baseball. You, Donnie, and David Holt signed him. David played a long time with the Red Sox.
He coached us.
In fact, there's a guy sitting over here that played with you, Eddie Bueno, that was on that team. He was a hell of a pitcher too.
Yeah, he was on the JV. He was on the JV team.
Yeah, but he
didn't lose a game for like 3 years.
Yeah, he went on to COS.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
Okay, so enough of that high school stuff. So, you graduated in 1974.
I did, with honors.
And you were signed by the Cincinnati Reds. What was that guy's name that signed you?
It was a father and son, Larry Barton Jr. and Larry Barton Sr.
I remember the Bartons. They used to hold a summer camp down in Wasco. I went down to play. I thought, oh yeah, I can hang with these guys. Oh my God! I realized, you better stay in the small pond, big boy.
It's a tryout camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
everybody was looking for a job.
I got a call from Mr. Alfano one morning. He goes, "You want to go to a tryout camp down in Wasco?" And I go, "What am I trying out for you?" I thought I was in high school. He goes, "Well, no, you get to go." And
that's how that happened.
And he took me to the first Reds camp after my sophomore year, and I went down there, and they take notes. It's called draft. They follow you.
So that was obviously in '73 or something, right? In your junior year, or was that
after my sophomore year? And I went back again my junior year. I went twice to the Reds camp down there.
I went once, and I came back with my tail between my legs. Man, I go, I'm not good enough for this.
Did it help you, the camp?
Unbeknownst to me, yes, it did. I mean, I didn't.
It got people to see you.
Well, I mean, Larry Barton Sr. is standing right there, and it got some beach nut, and one eye's twitching. You want to play ball? I'm like, you mean I want to play pro ball?
Paid for it?
He goes, are you serious now? You want to play ball? And I'm like, sure. That's the way they did things.
16, 17 at that time?
Yeah, I just, and then but I went back again. See, and when I went back again, well, like I mowed these guys down, so I got their attention. I went to a 3-day camp in Reading for the Phillies, but
Okay, but anyway, I remember when you and Don were on seniors, there were lots of scouts coming out to see your games. So anyway, you graduate from high school and you sign with the Reds.
Correct.
A minor league contract.
Correct.
Can I ask you what you made?
It was a contract for $15,000 plus a $7,500 incentive bonus, and I made all of it. So I ended up getting
$7,500.
Yeah. So I ended up getting a total of $22,500.
What were the incentives?
Yeah. What was your? Thanks, Eddie. What was your incentives?
$1,000 if you make a full year AA, and then
AA right out of high school?
No, at any time.
Oh.
And then $1,500 if you make AAA, and if you make your 60 days in the big leagues, then you get a bonus.
Bye, guys. Bye, Buenos.
See you, Eduardo. Nice to see you.
Anyway, wow. I mean, today, if you're drafted in the last round, they bring an armored car full of cash to pay you. And
okay.
You made.
I don't feel bad because I made more than guys like Tom Seaver and
Johnny
great.
Bench, remember?
Yeah, great. No, I mean all those guys 20 years before me, I made a lot more money than them at the end. I didn't in the beginning, but in the end.
Okay, so you played how many years in the minors? 2?
4+.
No, really?
Yeah.
Your first year in the majors was what?
78.
78.
So I was in AAA in 78 too.
Okay, so I want to know this. This is what I always wonder. You're playing AAA ball, and you get the call to go up to the big show.
Oh, good one. This is going to be a good one.
Okay, so you get the call to go. Were you excited?
You want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, so
I don't want to hear the 24-hour story, but tell us something quick.
Do you believe this? Wait till you get my invoice. So we're in Rosenblatt Stadium, Kansas City. First of all, I'm doing pretty well in this league at the time. I'm leading this league in innings pitched, complete games, ERA. I'm dealing. I get beat 2-1 in Omaha. Get on the bus, go to Okie City. Yeah, and you're kind of up. It's up late, kind of milling around, and it's pretty late, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And back then they would call and check to see if you're in your room. Well, by now I'd get pissed if they called my room. I'd be on their ass the next day in the office.
What are you, about 21 years old?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I don't feel like it. Anyway, so of course the phone rings, 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was just about ready to fall asleep too, and I picked it up and I go, yeah, Roy, I'm here. What? And Roy's the manager.
Your babysitter.
I was like, what? And he's like, well, I just want to tell you, Mr. Lacoss. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm here. I was getting pissed. He goes, pack your bags. You're on your way to Cincinnati. You got a 5:47 departure time. And so I had to get it together, and off I go.
Wow. You had to have been thrilled, huh?
Yeah, I didn't sleep for like 3 days.
Okay, so you had to catch a flight?
Yeah, I went to Cincinnati from Okie City to Cincinnati.
So you check in with the Cincinnati Reds, and you're looking at the biggest at that time, literally the biggest names in baseball.
The first thing, I had to go to the clubhouse first of all.
Uh-huh.
And so when I walked in there, Bernie was in there. And
we don't know who
Bernie
is.
Stowe was
Thank you.
Bernie Stowe was the Reds equipment manager.
Okay.
Very
popular,
well-known,
yeah,
funniest man on the planet.
Okay.
And of course, he already would know each other because I'd been in big league spring training.
Uh-huh.
So I walked in there, and he's a little tiny guy, about that big. Because you're right over there. You're making fun. I'm like, over here? And he's like, right over there. And I was in between Foster and Griffey. And they're called the immediate Oreo cookie.
He's just dropping names. George Foster was the home run king at that time. And then Ken Griffey.
Senior, the daddy.
Senior.
And so I'm in between the two guys, and it was pretty funny. And
That's pretty cool.
And I had to go in there and get my uni,
That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about your first appearance.
That was right that next day.
It was?
Yeah, the next day.
So you're on the mound and you're looking in, and oh my God, a couple years ago, I'm throwing to David Holt.
Yeah.
And now who are you throwing to? Number 5.
Oh yeah, the catcher. But see, I wasn't because
that would be Johnny Bench, folks.
I've already played with him in spring training and everything.
Oh,
I already pitched to him, and then the guy comes up. I already faced this guy about 75 times, Andre Dawson.
Oh, folks, this is such a good friend of mine, and I love to sit around.
So embarrassing.
I love to hear him talk about his baseball stories. But Mike, got to tell him that Andre Dawson story, please.
Well, so he was thinking, oh, you're going to be intimidated, but no, I wasn't, because I'm face these guys. But prior to this, I wasn't supposed to pitch this day. I'm a starting pitcher, so I was scheduled to pitch like 3 or 4 days later, because remember, I just got beat in Omaha, and so now I'm 5 days later, and I'm supposed to start in Montreal.
Uh-huh.
But I get in there, and Sparky's comes up to me and is talking to me and comes back and says, "Hey, I got a little idea." He goes, "How are you feeling? This is my second day now." I would have thrown on the side.
Sparky Anderson's the manager, by the way.
Would have thrown on the side, Sparky.
Right.
Anderson. She goes, "Maybe you put your spikes on, and if chance comes by, I'll put you in a game, and you get a couple innings in and relax a little bit." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm already relaxed, but if that's what you want, sure." So I'm thinking, and Seaver's pitching. I'm going, "No, this ain't gonna happen." Ball.
Seaver's pitching. Oh, Tom Seaver was pitching for the Reds.
So I go. The game starts and whack. Whack. I'm like, no, this is not looking too good.
They're teeing off on Tom Terrific.
Tom Terrific's getting lit up. Next thing you know, man, about third inning, here he comes. "Do you want to put your spikes on?" And I'm like, "Not really, but sure." So I go slap them on, and sure enough, I don't know, an inning later, here I come, and so I didn't have problems warming up. I could get loose. I had a real.
Yeah, you're 21 years old.
Oh, but I had a live arm, man. I could 5 throws. I could. So, anyways, I go out there. Here comes Dawson, Andre Dawson.
At this time, folks, was that the year that Dawson just owned the? Well, it was a few years later when he played for the Cubs, but he was still a home run hitter. He was
for about 15 years. He owned some people.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he comes, and I told you I've already faced this guy in AA and AAA.
I didn't realize this part of the story.
So I go right at him. Pow! Strike one. Up check swing, fouled off. Strike two. Now, and this is rare because I don't know why I did this. Like you're saying, you get to the big leagues and we try to trick somebody instead of just doing what you should have been doing. So here's Johnny's like wants me to run one in hard, and I'm like, now he's
Johnny Bench was telling you to throw one hard inside.
He's stunned because I shook him off, and he's like, I could see him kind of hesitate.
21-year-old shaking off Johnny Bench. What a cocky guy.
So and he's kind of hesitating, and he puts it down again, going, come on now, and he's got the circle means the hard sinker down, and I'm like, nah. And now he's like,
you're out thinking Johnny B.
Yeah, see, he actually had to think about what some of my other pitches were. I don't think he realized. Because I didn't throw a lot of other pitches, so he kind of comes down like real slow. I go, yep. And I throw the old nice little hanger right there, and he goes, whack! And
welcome to the big leagues.
A lightning rod goes down the left field line. I'm going, shit! I gotta go foul, and it hits the damn foul pole.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So now so he's got a new ball.
Johnny Bench.
Yes,
he comes out to the mound.
So I always come off the mound, So I'm kind of coming part way, and he comes.
He's irritated.
Of course, I'm a lot taller than him, and he comes out there and he looks up. He just looks up, and he's real smart. He looks up and he's got the ball, and he goes, curveball, huh? Throws that ball in there, and I'm like,
yeah. Next time, listen to me, huh?
No, anyway.
Now, you had Tony Perez playing first base?
No, Dreesen was playing. Danny Dreesen.
Was Tony Perez even on the team? Did you
Montreal.
You never played with Tony Perez?
In spring training.
Oh. Well, that was quite a team in 1970. This is 1979. You got Pete Rose in left, Geronimo's in center.
The production manager was getting to. You should probably step aside. Why don't you just let me go ahead?
Okay, you tell me he was on that team then.
I might be able to come up.
Maybe.
So the catcher is a Johnny Bench, Danny Dreesen, first base, Joe Morgan. Second, Concepcion as your shortstop, and Ray Knight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pete was at third. I made a mistake.
Ray Knight was on that team though, wasn't he?
Not yet. Yes, he was, but Pete was at third. George Foster, left field. Geronimo in center. Griffey in right.
Oh, Frank. Oh, hey, there's another interesting.
Now the next year.
Okay, but I want to, before I forget this, because this is a story I always cracked up when you told me that when you'd go to New York City, you didn't have much money. So Ken Griffey Jr. would have you babysit Ken Griffey Jr. I always thought that was a great story. That Ken Griffey Jr., who grew up to be one of the great players of all time, used to babysit.
I babysat Kenny and Craigie when they were like 4 and 5 years old.
Oh, he has 2 kids?
2 boys. 2 little guys.
One could say they learned baseball from you.
He probably doesn't even know who I am right now.
Okay, so you have we just can't go on forever here. So you have a 4-year stint with the Reds,
Yes.
and then you get traded
Put on waivers. I was one of the first players claimed off of
after
waivers.
being on the All-Star team 4 years
Well,
later.
it's 81 now, strike, and I was struggling. So at 82,
I
see you
forgot
later.
about the strike.
See you later.
So you're put on waivers and you get picked up by.
It's a really interesting story. So I'm in spring training with the Reds, 1982. There's 4 days left of spring training, and they call me in and say, "Thank you for coming by, Mr. Lacoss. The door's over there.
See you later, loser.
The door's over there." So out the door I go. 4 days left. I go home, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do now?
Got to feed the family, huh?
Michael's born just now. He's a little guy. He's just born. So he's a 1-year-old. So
You
now
don't want to go sell vacuum cleaners at Sears, right? You want a real.
no, hold on. No, this is tricky now. How this works? So there was no internet back then, and all the players back then, most of us read the sports section in USA Today because it had all the boxes, good ones, transactions, and a whole section on the thing. So, anyways, Ray Knight is having breakfast. And they had a little commissary over there in Cocoa Beach, and Al Rosen's in there, and here's Ray Knight. Now, he's my teammate, right? He knows me very well. He's looking, and here I am. I show up on the transactions. Lacoss put on waivers. So he's like, and I just faced him like a day before. So he goes over to Al. This is no kidding. He goes over to Al Rosen. He goes, "Did you see this?" I was like, "No, not." He's like, "What?" He goes, "He's on waivers." He goes, "Is there something wrong with the arm?" And he goes, "No, I just faced him." No. You need one more guy? Better get this dude.
Ray Knight was with the Astros. At the time?
Astros. So, in the meantime, I schedule. I don't know. I can't even remember how I did it, but I'm going to go now the next day to Sarasota, and I'm going to throw at 9:00 in the morning for Tony La Russa and Roland Heeman with the White Sox at 9:00 in the morning.
Oh wow!
But in the meantime, I get the call from Al Rosen. He says, "Can you throw tomorrow?" I'm like, "Sure." What time? He goes,
"Is this a paying gig?"
No, it's the same day that I'm going to throw in Sarasota. So, fortunately, they're playing in Winter Haven. The Astros are playing the Red Sox in Winter Haven. So we load up. I throw the White Sox, and he's like, "Yeah, can we sign you, man? But can you go to AAA for a couple of weeks?" I go, "No, I ain't going to AAA. Thank you. Appreciate it." Got in the car, drove to Winter Haven, got out, got another uniform on, and now it's like the 5th inning, and here comes Mel Wright. Now, remember, it's the old days. He's got a pack of cigarettes rolled up here.
God.
Here he comes. "Hey, Mike, how you doing?" "Mel Wright." I'm like, "Hey, I know you, Mel. How you doing?" He goes, "You do some throwing?" I go, "Sure." I threw like 10 pitches. He goes, that's enough." I go, "That's it?" He goes, "I've seen enough." He goes, "I'll be talking to Bill after the game." And he walked off. I'm talking, this lasted 1 minute and 30 seconds. Gone. I'm like, "Oh, that's it." So I go.
So all of a sudden you're on the Astros.
No, not yet. So now I go take the uni off, go back to Tampa, and now the next day, the phone rings again. It's Al Rosen. He goes, "Are your bags packed?" I go, "Pretty much." He goes, "Tomorrow's opening day. Meet us in the Astrodome."
No kidding.
I claimed you off of waivers, and I didn't even know what the hell it meant, to be honest with you. But I know they had to take my contract that the Reds were going to eat.
And they had to pay whatever that contract was.
They paid the minimum, and the Astros paid the rest. That's how I got to the Astros. So I was one of the first players claimed off of waivers. But the trick is, what they used to do, they'd put you on waivers, see who's interested, and then take you off.
Oh. So you go, okay.
You got that?
Yeah, I got that.
Right.
So you play a few years with the Astros.
Now I'm a free agent.
And then you go to play for the Royals, which you've told me before was your least favorite team to play for.
But collusion, the historical event is taking place. I filed for free agency, and not one team offered me $1, and I had a good year. And in fact, I was having a dominating year until Tommy Herr hit me right there with a line drive. That hurt. And that ended my. I was terrible. But anyway, I was a free agent, and not a team offered me $1, and I ended up similar to what was going to occur again with the Giants, just calling and asking and getting an invitation to come to spring training and make the team.
Do you think that's your agent's fault?
No, not really. Just the collusion was all about the ownership, all about it. By the way,
Yeah, but
sued
your
them and
agent
won.
couldn't make calls to find.
They did. When I went to New York, I got called into the office, and I brought in evidence and phone calls like this for evidence. Then we sued them. Right? And I was in the first class, 236 free agents. I was part of that class 1. I took all my evidence in and everything, and they built a case. We sued the owners for $260 million, and we won.
How much? What piece of that $260 million did you get?
Over 7 figures.
Really? Can I borrow a couple bucks?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Ivan wants to borrow a couple bucks.
Anyway, there's somebody got ahead of you, but that's okay.
Anyway,
So that's how I did that. And then, of course, it happened again. I was a released player after Kansas City. And then I told the story. I went down, and it was February. I'm looking for a job. Picked up a media guide, and I realized the Giants had lost 100 games. And then I'm like, hey, Rosen's the GM. He knows me.
yeah. He knew you because he was the GM at Houston.
Right. And so I called him, and he was available right then, lucky. And he says, yeah, Mike, well, guys should have camp. We want some guys to come in and compete. He goes, I know you'll compete. And Bob
What
Kennedy,
year is this?
86. And so he says, Bob Kennedy will write you a letter, and we'll get you going. So I was out there within a week.
To Arizona.
Yeah. And it's funny, Roger. I had already been.
Roger Craig, folks, the manager, the great manager for the San Francisco Giants. Mike just drops these names. I call you guys are supposed to know who it is, but Roger Craig was the manager.
Anticipating a little bit of a kind of a battle I was going to have to make a team. I was kind of in mid-season form. I had all my pitches. I worked out with Jack Stallings at Georgia Southern, no problem. So I was ready to go. So I go out there and I throw my bags down, and the hum baby comes out, and he's a big dude. Roger, how you doing? A couple questions. How you feeling? I really didn't pitch last year, so I'm feeling pretty good actually. And he goes, well, can you go? Can you pitch? I go, yeah. Oh yeah, right now. Oh really? I go, yeah. I can go 5 innings right now. Anyway, 5 innings. He goes, Norm. He calls Norm Sherry to starts penciling in because they rebuilt the whole team, right? All those guys, big, they're Donnie Robinson, Russell, Kelly Downs.
Was Montefusco still on that team? He was gone at that time.
The only ones that are still there was Kruko, Lasky, and Hammaker, and they got rid of Lasky.
Okay, so we're gonna condense this. So here comes the great year of 1989, and you guys go to the World Series.
You deserve a ring, incidentally.
I have a National League Championship ring.
Yeah.
World Series ring.
You have to win to get
You have to win. He never won a World Series, Eddie.
I thought Kansas City won.
Yeah, well.
We're going to have a talk with you.
Yeah. Kansas City was on the 1985.
Come on.
Kansas City Royals won the World Series, but he didn't get on the World Series. He wasn't on the World Series
89
roster.
was really interesting. Very interesting. So I had elbow surgery in 1988. So I didn't pitch at the end of the 88 season, but I could throw a little bit, and my arm felt good. And the last day of the season, I got called into the office for the 61st time and says, you think you can be our closer next year? Yeah, come on now. Really? No, we're serious. I'm one of the best starting guys on the team. You don't need it. Well, we don't have. We think maybe we'll make a deal. But I go, okay, I'll do it. Okay.
Who did they think was starting? Who were the 4 guys?
So anyway, so I go home. I come home that year. I called Leo Costa here.
A local Leo.
I said, Leo, I had elbow surgery. I go, I'm going to train a little bit. deal. So I come down. So I went down with Leo, and for 9 weeks straight, 6 days a week, I trained. And I went to spring training, dude. Look out. Look out. So I come out blazing. I saved 6 games the first month. And they start, but see, these guys are old school. They're like bringing me in the 7th inning now. I'm like, hey, I had to go say, why are you doing that? I said, I'm not going to be able to maintain this, you know.
You mean long closing?
Yeah, I mean,
you want to be a Rivera guy coming in.
No, 1 or 2 innings for me is okay, but I can't come in there in the 7th inning and then the next night I'm warming up again.
So yeah, I got you.
So it got to be a problem. So I'm like 3-5, and I gave up. Of course, the greatest sin on the planet, I gave up a home run to Eddie Murray in Candlestick to win with the Dodgers.
Against the Dodgers?
Oh
my God.
And I went right back out there the next night and slammed the door and saved it. It didn't matter.
They booed you because you gave up that home run to Eddie Murray.
Anyways, I'm 3-5. I got some saves, but it's not working, you know. And so all of a sudden I get called in again. We just traded for Steve Bedrosian. Yeah. I'm going back in the rotation. They go, yeah. I'm like, okay, boys, here I come now. And I did. I came back.
Because you're a starter, man. I mean, that was the only thing you ever did.
I came back and dealt pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
So you go to, I don't know, God, 1989 was how many years ago? That's a long, 35 years for a lot of people. They don't remember, but I remember I was so proud of Mike. I go, man, Mike's in the World Series, man. I can't believe this. So, man, I was working down at the radiator shop. I said, man, I got to go home. I got to get in front of my TV. And, you know, a lot of our friends, you got tickets from Dave Morgan and all. They went to see you play.
Waiting for your call.
And I pull up into the driveway, and I go, oh, my God, my car is just, what the hell is wrong with my car? And it was that earthquake, the earthquake in 1989. Were you scared to death for your family's safety when that happened?
That was a rolling one.
Oh, it was horrible,
Not
man.
Really.
No?
Not scared. The worst one I was in is with 86 in the Northridge.
Oh.
37th floor up there, and that was not fun.
Yeah, but worst. Okay, I remember that, and that was horrible too. But
it
the World Series game.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching that game. You know, what happened? Did you guys? You didn't finish. You took the day off after that.
10 days.
10 days. See, I don't remember that.
There was no power.
Oh, that was a horrible.
So
what happened on the freeways?
They had to bring all the families from the stands down to the field and usher them out the right field thing through the double doors into the parking lot. No power. Next thing it was dark. We can't get in the clubhouse. They got lights going in there, and we just stayed there for 6-8 hours because you couldn't go anywhere.
The city was just on lockdown, right? You couldn't get across the Bay Bridge.
Well, no, but people trying to go south on 101 to San Mateo or whatever, try to get out, you know, through the Bay, the Dumbarton Bridge or the San Mateo Bridge, gridlock. Took them 6 hours on
the only bridge that really went out was the Bay Bridge.
One
right?
section, but they went and checked. See, people don't remember this. The next morning, at about 7 o'clock in the morning.
The aftershock?
They say it was an aftershock. It was like a 6.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, I had a bunch of people with me, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
We're all at this one hotel. Man, I heard doors going. I go out there, look, they're leaving. They panicked and got the heck out of there because they checked.
Were you at a downtown San Francisco hotel?
No, I stayed down in San Mateo.
Oh.
And so the San Mateo Bridge got shut down because it stress fractures of some kind.
That's 7 miles.
Yeah.
And
so anyway, that was a horrible thing. But the worst thing was you guys go down in flames in 4 games.
Ruined
to the Bash Brothers, man.
Ruined it. Yeah, and we were just like.
I really thought you guys were going to beat them too, and you went down 4 in a row.
I know. I was thinking we could at least win 1 game.
Man.
Well, it's just one of these things where, in my opinion, a major mistake was made. Roger
should have started you in that 3rd game, huh?
He should have never gone back to Grelts or Big Daddy for game 3 or 4.
But he thought because they had 10 days of rest, they were going to be okay.
Yeah. but they got worse.
So anyway, okay, so that kind of ends. Mike, you ended your career with the Giants, and you should be very proud of yourself. Not very many people get paid to play baseball for 14 years. Hey, before we go, tell it what'd you make? What was the biggest amount?
He wants to hear the scale.
Give me the big money. You started at $10,000.
Here's what happened.
What was your last contract?
Yeah, so 19.5 was number one. Then I went to 28, and then I was in an all-star game, so they doubled my salary to 56,000.
In 79?
For the 80 season.
Wow.
And then
that was the year Pete Rose went to the Phillies for 800,000, and I thought 800,000, man, they're ruining baseball.
Then I went to 80,000. I finally got to six figures, 100,000. But then I got the collusion.
Was that with the Reds?
Yes, but then I got released, and then I went to Houston. And I made decent money, a couple hundred, 300, something like that. And then I got colluded on, and when I went to the Giants, my first contract there was only 300,000. But at the end, it was
I was working at the radiator shop for 40 grand. So
it went from 19,500 to $1.3 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now,
but I'm going to tell you something that was stunning. In the beginning, there was only one card company, Topps. And
there was no flair at that time.
No, they just there you go. Here's your little gum card, and so we'd go to spring training and get our marketing checks for the past year. It used to be.
Oh, you guys got paid for those baseball cards?
Marketing, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Don't apologize.
I'm not really sorry.
No, it's okay. And so we get $700.
Oh man,
$800.
Cigarette and chew money, man.
Off to the dog track, baby. Cashing them off to the dog track. So now
was that over in Oakland?
St. Pete.
Oh, down in Florida. Yeah.
So now Topps got sued, and they lost, and so that allowed all the companies to come in and wiped out their monopoly. Well, by the 1989 season, my licensing check went from 800 to 90,000.
Wow! No kidding for those baseball cards.
Well, it's not just that. If you buy a
Major League hat or something, all that MLB.
Remember the Wheaties with Fernando?
Yeah.
MLB
you got a little piece of that too?
Every emblem is 500,000 minimum.
Wow.
It was in the players' pool. If you're in the big leagues for a full season, you get a full share. Mine was 90,000. Back-to-back years, actually, 90 and 90 or something like that.
Oh man!
But no matter what you got paid, you played 14 years in the major league.
But I started at $500 a month.
$500 a
And
month.
the Reds, we got $5 a day meal money.
Okay, I got to close on this one thing, and thanks, by the way. Thanks, Mike. Don't shake my hand like that. Anyway, it is a lovely ring. Hey, anyway, Mike, I love sports memorabilia, and Mike kind of started it around here. There's all kinds of stuff in the bathroom, and I'm starting to collect it around here. But he has brought me some really cool baseball bats, and tell him the story of. I think this is the neatest bat.
There's only one of these made right here, one of a kind. So after the '78 season, the Reds went to Japan for the Goodwill Tour, and at that time, the people were trying to make different bats, and so this is bamboo.
I did not know bamboo was hard like that.
It's not. It doesn't work. It's too soft. So but they wanted Pete to try it, so they made him a bat the way he wanted with no knob, and so it's got a little bit of stuff from him for batting practice, and maybe a week or so, and then he quit. And I got it.
It's signed to Mike from Pete Rose. You're a great guy, boy.
Yeah.
You're getting Pete Rose to say you're a great guy. Oh boy, lucky you.
Take that.
He's a real great guy. No, I love Pete Rose.
Take that.
But this is the one I really, thanks for this. This is your 1989 World Series bat with all the guys signing it. That's pretty cool.
And these are originals too. So we signed these with the paint pens. And so this is not the little stamp job, from the factory. So this is the real deal.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Big stick from Adirondack.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you.
Robbie Thompson, in case you know.
I can see that. I recognize almost every one of those names. Hey, folks, I want to thank Mike Lacoss for sitting down with us, and I really, I got to tell you, for many years, I was so proud of him because, I hate to admit it, but I knew him, and I was very proud of what he accomplished in Major League Baseball. Another of the many amazing athletes that came out of Visalia, California. Good night, everybody. Live from Crawdaddys. Thanks for sticking with us.